Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Tira Vanachari Jai Jai Jai. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 7, text number 16. Please repeat after me. Shrutva haristam aranarthinam aprameyas Shrutva haristam aranarthinam aprameyas Chakrayudaha patagaraja bhujadirudaha Chakrayudaha patagaraja bhujadirudaha Chakrena nakravadanam vinipatya tasmad Chakrena nakravadanam vinipatya tasmad Daste pragruhya bhagavan kripayojjahara Daste pragruhya bhagavan kripayojjahara Shrutva haristam aranartinam aprameyas Daste praharya bhagavan kripayojjahara Shrutva, by hearing, Harihi, the personality of Godhead, Tam, him, Arana Arthinam, one who is in need of help, Aprameyaha, the unlimitedly powerful Lord, Chakra, wheel, Ayudaha, equipped with his weapon, Patagaraja, the king of the birds, Garuda, Bhuja Arudaha, being seated on the wings of, Chakrena, by the wheel, Nakravadanam, the mouth of the crocodile, Vinipatya, cutting in two, Tasmat, from the mouth of the crocodile, Haste, in the hands, Pragruhya, taking hold of the trunk, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Kripaya, out of causeless mercy, Ujjahara delivered him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel, chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant. And he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk. Purport. The Lord resides in his Vaikuntha planet. No one can estimate how far away this planet is situated. It is said, however, that anyone tries to reach that planet by airship or by mine ships traveling for millions of years will find it still unknown. Modern scientists have invented airships which are material, and the yogis make a still finer material attempt to travel by mine ships. The yogis can reach any distance place very quickly with the help of mine ships. But neither the airship nor the mine ship has access to the kingdom of God in the Vaikuntha Loka, situated far beyond the material sky. Since this is the situation, how was it possible for the prayers of the elephants to be heard from such an unlimited distant place? And how could the Lord at once appear on the spot? These things cannot be calculated by human imagination. All this was possible by the unlimited power of the Lord, and therefore the Lord is described here as aprameya. For not even the best human brain can estimate his powers and potencies by mathematical calculation. The Lord can hear from such a distant place. He can eat from there, and he can appear simultaneously in all places at a moment's notice. Such is the omnipotency of the Lord. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions some very interesting things about airships and mine ships. Right? So Prabhupada had this, the clarity of his purport is so amazing. We all know about the different airships, right, that the modern scientists have built. And in the Bhagavatam, is mentioned in many places, and Srila Prabhupada talks about this, that one of the Ashtasiddhis is an ability to go to any place they want, and the fastest way, at least in the subtle energies, is through mind ships. Right? What does a mind ship mean? Anybody thought about it? Any ideas? He wants to give an idea. Huh? You can travel with your mind. Power of the mind. So basically, it's technically correct. Like if you think about it, so we have this gross body, right? And then within this gross body, we have a subtle body. The mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. And then this is actual us, which is Atma. And in the Shastras, it is mentioned that, in the higher planetary systems, right? The higher you go, especially if you go all the way to Brahmaloka, they don't have a material gross body, right? Their body is purely subtle. So there isn't a concept of, oh, there's a gross body and then, you have to do something. They're just only subtle body. So they can obviously, that subtle body can travel at the speed of the mind. Right? And if you think about the minds, what's the typical characteristics of the mind? The mind's, one of the primary activities of the mind is to do what? Not exactly thinking. Generate well, you can say thoughts, right? Different kinds of thoughts. And it goes on giving ideas, right? So like that, right? And then in a second, you can think about some place. In a second, you can think about some other place. Imagine if you could actually travel immediately at that speed. Srila Prabhupada, when he is talking about his childhood, he talks about how many sadhus used to visit his house, his father's house, regularly. Right? Many of you would have read this. He was very often entertaining a lot of sadhus. He was, calling them home and serving them. And so dinner at Prabhupada's house used to be, usually there used to be some guests, and typically they were sadhus. He so clearly remembered one particular incident of meeting a sadhu, and then after after having dinner and everything, niceties, and Prabhupada was there, and he was talking, and the sadhu said, "Okay, let me show you something," and he just reached his hand and got a mango. Right? Do people remember this? Prabhupada talks about it in his when he talks about his childhood. He just said he just reached and got a mango. It was not even mango season. And so fresh, plucked from a tree mango. And Prabhupada explains how that's the prapti siddhi, right? The ability to get something. In fact, Prabhupada actually goes a little bit further and explains that in the prapti siddhi, you cannot really create stuff. You can only get it from somewhere else. Like in case, like some yogis, if they really have perfected some of the yogic stances, they produce gold, right? It's really not production of gold, it is getting of gold from somewhere else. You have to have gold somewhere else. And you can use your prapti siddhi at best to go get it. So that's the prapti siddhi. And then Prabhupada also talks about another. Does anybody remember what Prabhupada talks about going from place to place? He gives an example. He talks about that also. But then he actually talks about how there are yogis who will dip in one river and then he'll get up in another river. Right? He's just sort of using the river as the medium. See what happens, I was just thinking about this. When you don't have a gross body, it's very easy, right? Because you have nothing to stop you, from going from one place to another, because you're just traveling at the speed of the mind. But when you have a gross body, you sort of have to dissolve your gross body elements here, travel with your subtle body and sort of reassemble your gross body elements somewhere else. Like, the teleportation that science fiction movies show about. When you have a gross body, you have that additional step You know, I think that's why there may be limitations. I'm just, the Prabhupada talks only about like dipping in water and getting up in the water in other places. But for people from higher planetary systems, they don't have all these limitations. But the primary thing Prabhupada is trying to say here is not about talking about mind ships, but he's saying, even if you had a mind ship, you cannot go to Krishna because he's so far away. Right? The Vaikuntha planets are so far away. I mean, if you think about this universe, 4 billion miles, the diameter, according to the Vedic science, of this universe. And then beyond that, there is a covering of all of the material elements, and one like 10 times bigger than the other. It's just mind-blowing how big one universe is. And beyond that, just think about the spiritual world. That's where the Lord resides. And so by material means, it's practically impossible. And now what people do is, they try to apply that thinking and say, if, materially, I'm not able to go there, then God, Krishna is not able to come here either. Right? And Prabhupada is clarifying that even though, the Lord is so far away, He can appear in an instant. And He was there in an instant and immediately rescued the crocodile. They rescued the elephant from the crocodile. Right? In fact, in the Ishopanishad, verse number 5, right? Prabhupada's book, Ishopanishad, verse 5 says, Tad ejati, tan naijati. Right? Tad dure, tad anantike. Tad antikim. Tad antarasya, sarvasya, tadu sarvasya pahyata. So the Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. Dure, this is the one that's important. Tad dure, tadu anantake. He is far away, but He is very near as well. He is within everything and He is still outside of everything. Right? So the Lord is very far away, but He is very near at the same time. And that is the description that's given here. I think it's important to understand, how does Krishna come near to us? How can we get God near to us? Very interestingly, in the Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, text 53, I'll just read this. It's an interesting way. Krishna is talking to, after showing the universal form, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Naham veder na tapasya, na danena na chejjaya, sakya evam vidho drashtum drishtvan asimam yata. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Look at this. Nor by worship. Like, what are we doing? We get up in the morning, we worship the Supreme Lord. But Krishna is saying, you can't reach me by worship. Right? Nor by studying the Vedas. What are we doing now? We're reading the Bhagavatam. Right? Which is the essence of the Vedas. Nor by undergoing severe penances. Nor by charity. Nor by worship. So what is the difference? Right? Between what is the difference? Why is Krishna saying that you cannot reach me by worship? You cannot reach me by studying the Vedas? What exactly is Krishna trying to say here? Anybody? Exactly. The only differentiating factor, Prabhupada explains in that purport very nicely, is it's not the fact that you're doing this is what is getting you closer to God. It is only the bhakti, your bhakti, is what is getting close to God. So that is why it is so important for us to remember this. It is not just because I'm reading Bhagavatam, I can capture God. Or I'm being duty worship, I can capture God. I'm chanting, I can capture God. If any of these, all of these elements, if you're doing just as a mechanical thing, as a ritual, as just for the sake of doing, without bhakti, then Krishna is very far away. Right? He is beyond this material universes. It's like 4 billion miles, and then beyond that, and then it's like practically impossible to get to him. But what is able to get Krishna near to us is Bhavagrahi Janardana, our desire, our bhakti. Oh Krishna, I want to know you. I want to really understand you. Right? See, let us understand how Krishna is very far first. Right? Krishna is so far away from the material world. In fact, he says that he's really not present in the material world in one sense. Right? The reason he is not is because he does not want to interfere with the free will of the living entity. In fact, Prabhupada says in one place that Krishna cannot interfere with your free will because you are part of Krishna and Krishna has unlimited free will, you also have free will. And it's like, and many places he says, because love cannot exist without free will, and that's why Krishna does not want to interfere with your free will. Right? And so, Krishna actually stays aloof from this world and creates this world and all the rules and regulations, the law of karma and everything like that, and stays aloof from this material world. In that way is very far away. And for us also, Krishna is very far away. Right? What are the reasons why for us Krishna is far away? Right? In the material world, the living entity is predominantly enamored with Ichcha and Dvesha. Ichcha, Dvesha. Right? Almost everything in this world, we are attracted to something and we don't like something. There is this dichotomy of liking, disliking. Right? And there's also this Sochati and Kankshati. Krishna says, right? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Sochati na Kankshati. If you really need to go know God, you have to give up this Ichcha Dvesha. You have to give up Sochati and Kankshati. As long as we're stuck in this Sochati, Kankshati, Ichcha Dvesha situations, right? We find something favorable, something unfavorable. We get excited in Krishna consciousness when things are going in our favor, and we actually get a little bit Jai Krishna Balaram, Thai Gauranga. We get a little bit dejected or disappointed or less enthused when things are not favorable. Right? When we are bound by these, we are making Krishna far away from us. Right? It's not that Krishna is far away. Because Krishna says, I am not there when you are in this mood. When your consciousness is in Ichcha Dvesha, in Kankshati, in Sochati and Kankshati, in thinking of the past and hankering for the future, Krishna is not there at that time. Your consciousness has to be in equanimity to really experience the Lord. So that's why He's not there. And if you think about it, we actually sometimes we glorify this Ichcha Dvesha. In fact, some people will say, I'm so determined, I'll get this, somehow or other I'll get it. Right? Many people, in fact, there is a saying, what, by hook or crook, they'll get it. Now, that is actually, somebody wants something, some Ichcha is there. If somebody wants to get it by hook or crook, what guna is that? Passion? Think a little bit more about it. The definition is the crook part of it. If you are, see, passion, the passion is a little different. Passion is fruity mentality is called passion. Meaning, I badly want this, I'll go do the tapasya it needs. I'll go do this austerity. I'll go do these things. I'll go worship here. I'll go pray to this God, to this demigod, not God. And then I'll get it. That is actually Rajoguna. Fruitive mentality. You want something and you'll do something to get it. Right? The Tamoguna is by hook or crook I'll get it. Well, they're clearly telling you, will you steal something? Right? There are consequences. Right? If you go to a store and if you, buy something, well, it takes you some time to go somewhere and buy something and come. At least it's a straightforward process. But if you steal something, you can end up in court, and then you have to go and pay a fine, and maybe sometimes you're in prison. And finally, anyway, you're thinking, okay, you'll get that thing that you want. So the mentality of by hook or crook, in fact, this is so predominant in the world today. Especially, in India, you can see this in this thing. People have become so materialistic, and they're so used to breaking rules and regulations to getting whatever they want. It's like, I will get it by cheating somebody. I'll get it by thieving. Anyways, I'll get what I want. Rajoguna is of fruity mentality. I know what I want. I very badly want it. I'll do something to get it. And then Satvik is Sattva Guna. If you think about Satvik aspect of it, you are mostly in happiness, right? You are in spiritual consciousness, some level of that. And so in Sattva Guna, you are drawing inward happiness from yourself. You're really not wanting it in the first place. You don't really need something to be happy. You're drawing happiness from yourself. So that's sort of differences between those three modes. Right? And Krishna says, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Right? The other reason why we are far from Krishna is because, where are we? Mama Maya Duratyaya. We are in a prison. And that's why Krishna is far from us. But who is kept in a prison? Right? Bad people are kept in a prison for a reason. Right? It's for a reason they're kept there. There was I was listening to one lecture that this devotee was explaining. It seems one prisoner was writing to her by seeing her articles. And he kept writing more and more. And she felt that there was a little bit of wrong thinking in the way he was writing, and she got concerned, why this person is continuing to write so many times to me. And then she just wanted to make sure that the prison authorities are aware that there's somebody like this is writing sort of inappropriately. And so she called the prison house, because the address was usually, when letters are coming from prisoner, it has to go through the prison system, right? And then it's stamped, where is it coming from? So picked up the phone, called the direction, called the prison house. And and the person picked up and said, yes, this person is in this prison. But you really don't have to worry too much. And she said, why? Oh, you're calling the maximum security prison for the criminally insane people. As nobody can escape out of here. This is the most secure prison in the United States. And then nobody has ever escaped. Nobody has any means of escaping this place. Maximum security prison. So very similarly, we are all in, Maya's maximum security prison. There's no escaping from here till your criminal mentality is reformed. Right? We should really internalize this once. We cannot escape from this prison. You cannot cheat yourself and say, what is parole, right? You heard of parole, in these prisons. Then there'll be a panel of people, right? And they'll ask you questions. See, you're actually, let's say you're supposed to stay for 24 years in prison. And then after you reach certain years, I think about I'm just making it up, in 6 years or something, you will have an opportunity for a parole hearing every year. See, because what happens, even though you're supposed to stay for 24 years, different people get reformed in the prison system at different pace. And so they are a little bit, cognizant of that, and they give you a hearing to see if you're qualified for a parole or not. And so there's 3-4 people, and then they ask you certain questions, and they'll talk about your activities, what have you done, and all those things. And if they're satisfied, they actually let you go. Right? There have been a lot of instances of prisoners cheating the parole system. Right? They know when the parole hearing is in November, and starting October, they'll become very, they act very nicely. They'll go do a lot of, community work, extra work. Kartik Masa comes, doing extra, chanting extra this thing. But until and unless internally we are actually purified, because you see, there is no difference between the Lord is present in your heart. See, these things are like, somebody knows what is going on inside of you. Right? See, just think about this for a second. Like, just think about all the thoughts that you got yesterday. Right? Or maybe in the night. So just write down your thoughts very truthfully. And then you say, I'll go and tell all the thoughts that came yesterday to my closest friends. Every single one. Not, Do you think they'll remain your friend? It's a question you should ask yourself. If you really reveal every single thought in your mind, I don't think, people can digest what all craziness is going on in our minds. Not everybody can digest that amount of craziness. Even, I love you so much, but, this is getting a little too creepy. That's the nature. But Krishna is present in our heart as Paramatma. He is seeing every single thing that we are thinking, but He still loves us. He still unconditionally loves us. Prabhupada gives this example of Putana. Right? Krishna accepted Putana as his mother. Right? Think about it. Putana had no good intentions either. Not that her intentions were good or something. Completely wrong intentions. Forget completely wrong intentions. She had killed so many children. Just, in the last few days, she had killed thousands of children in every place. Full evil intention. But what is Krishna saying? Why did Krishna give her this thing? What did Krishna say? Krishna is saying, your technique of killing me is motherly. You have a evil motherly technique of killing me, but the word is motherly over there. Oh, you could have killed me so many ways, but you just want to give me your milk and then kill me. So I'm accepting you as a mother. That is the extent to which Krishna wants us. See, we should actually meditate on some of these things, Krishna's pastimes. These are not some, things that are happening by chance. Krishna is giving us a message. The message is, I love you unconditionally, whatever you are, however you are thinking. I also will accept you this thing, however your thoughts are. So we have to be very, very grateful for the love and affection the Lord shows to us. And what is He asking in return? What is He asking in return? We should really think about it. Right? What is it that we have amongst ourselves, what that really belongs to us that we can give Krishna? What is it? Our love, our desires to serve Him. That's the only thing Krishna is asking. One small thing you say. Right? I know I'm sitting in your heart. You may not be 100% meaning it. I know that, you have a lot of, background, commission that you're taking and everything you say, but still, say it, ask, desire, right? That is why, our Shastras and our Acharyas have told in many places that, we have the system of praying. Actually ask the Lord. And sometimes, we read the Shastras, we read how great devotees, how they did and how they behaved, how they lived. And that it rubs off on us, and sometimes even not really meaning it, you say, but still the Lord says, okay, fine, you at least said that you want this. But more importantly, if you really want to advance faster than that, actually, think of Krishna as a confidant. You can say, Krishna, I'm supposed to have this desire, but I'm so fallen, I'm so this thing, I'm still bound up by this Icha, Dvesha, Shochati, Kankshati, all these material entanglements. I'm not able to, unconditionally, purely ask for this, but please have some mercy on me, have some love on me, and give, allow this, give me this. Right? When you do that, the Lord reciprocates. And that's when, by our thoughts and sincere prayers, we can get Krishna very near to us. And instantly the Lord is there. Just like here, Gajendra's situation, right? Gajendra was in such, and towards the end of all the fight, I won't go into the details, he was thoroughly exhausted, right? It was not his natural place of strength. Right? He was in the water and he's been fighting this crocodile for so many thousands of years. And his energy was sapping away, and then he could sense, I'm so close now. If I slip now, I know I'm dead. At that last moment, he remembered prayers that had been taught, and then very soulfully picked up a lotus, offered to Vishnu, and said his prayers. Instantly, Vishnu was there on the shoulders of Garuda, right? On the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the chakra. And with the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant. And he delivered the elephant by lifting him up by his trunk. So, it is in our hands whether we want to keep Krishna far, far away, or we want to keep Krishna near to us. Right? Now, just by desiring and praying and requesting God, we can actually get Krishna very near to us. And so we should be very conscious of this, thoughtful of this, and we should use this wonderful mechanism that Krishna has given to get Krishna near to us. Okay. Anybody has any quick questions or comments? Yes, Mother. He's always there. Sorry, last part I didn't hear. Yeah. He's there in our heart, yes. See, the thing is, when our consciousness is in Icha, Dvesha, Sochati, Kankshati, all this kind of consciousness, we cannot see, we cannot hear the Paramatma is sitting there and is continuously guiding you. In the example is given of the two birds sitting on the tree, right? What is one bird doing is very engrossed in eating the fruits of the tree. Other bird is just looking at him, but he's not able to see. Right? The Lord is right there. We cannot see him because we are so bound up by our intense desires, intense this thing. In fact, in our day-to-day life, that's why Prabhupada was stressing so much that we have to be sattvic in our in activities and dealings. And the biggest issue, see, externally we can act and we can become also. Taking bath, at least twice a day, easier thing to do. Eating only sattvic food, easy thing to do, right? These are easier. Like there is, avoid, spicy food. It's relatively easy to do. Like some people have a lot of difficulty in doing that. But, it is relatively easy to do. You can give that up. These are all things, see, these are mechanical things by which we can try to put ourselves sattva guna. But they'll get us, see, not that we should stop doing this, we should absolutely do that. But the bigger thing is in the mind being sattvic. Right? We get all these different kinds of thoughts and this, right? We should always understand what does it mean being sattvic in the mind. You should understand what rajasic and tamasic is, then you know how to be sattvic. That is why it's important to understand this definition. And like we were discussing, rajasic in the mind basically means being fruitive. Something is good, I will do. Something is bad, I won't do. Something is favorable, I will do. Well, that is fruitive mentality. And it's very difficult for us, Obviously, when, you're in a nice place and everything is beautiful, you feel like going for a nice japa walk, right? It's natural. But, that is still, in a sense, is a fruitive mentality. It's rajoguna. Irrespective of what the situation is, we should still be able to think of Lord and chant. That is, sattvic mentality. So it's important for that we practice that. Then what happens, that we start to listen to the Paramatma in the heart, who's right there and present there. He's guiding us constantly too. He's constantly guiding us. When people say, I had a eureka moment, suddenly somebody revealed something to me. Is even material things has to be revealed by the Paramatma in the heart. It's not that somewhere else it is coming. Right? When you have performed austerities and penances, knowledge is revealed to you. So that's the thing. Even though the Paramatma is present in your heart, it is difficult for us because we're not mindful and we're not in the moment and thinking of God and proper consciousness. Okay, so we'll stop here. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Oh, sorry. Yes, follow-up question. Yes, last question. So those are lower stages of performing devotional service, which will obviously have an impact. You'll move further, but eventually you have to give it up. It's not that I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm very fruitive, or I'm getting hook or crook. I'm getting things. Jai Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Krishna Balaram Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Srinivasa Govinda ki jai. And that is if I continue doing that, I will attain perfection. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You really have to come to the proper consciousness of serving, because this world is a preparation to go to the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there's no place for these kind of mentalities. And so we have to be trained, and that's why we are tested here by Maya multiple times. So naturally, when Prabhupada said our temple, our ISKCON movement, devotees here, we're all in a hospital. It's a spiritual hospital. We all have our different kinds of diseases. That is why we're in the spiritual hospital. So you should expect devotees to be there in those consciousness. And we ourselves, we should expect that in different times we exhibit different forms of this. It's important for us to understand how to get out of it. And these typical things, you have to approach somebody who has been doing this for a little longer than you, right? Who is your spiritual authority, to get very specific practices and techniques for yourself to get better. Right? I think you have to act on it. By your action, you show that you're sincere. Right? Sincerity is, I know I have this problem. Again, first recognizing the problem is half the problem solved. Most people, usually the people who are totally in this have no clue. They have no clue at all that they have this problem. And they will act, they'll think that, that they don't have this problem. In fact, in the Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that a very neophyte devotee thinks, oh, spiritual life is very easy. They actually think like that. It's written, not even, that initially he'll say, oh, I'm very spiritual, I'll just do it very quickly, I'll become. There's the initial euphoria. The more and more you become Krishna conscious, the more you'll start realizing, what a horrible person I am. That is the natural progression. If you're thinking, I'm devotee, I'm chanting nicely, I'm doing everything nicely, that's could very well be the very beginning stages where you're falsely optimistic about who you really are. And the more you advance, you start, oh my God, this is so bad, that is so bad. Then you actually, in one sense, you realize it's insurmountable. See, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he was talking to Mukunda, and he tells him, it will take you 10 million lives to know me and see me. To see me, actually says. 10 million lives you will see me. You know what Mukunda does? He jumps up in joy and jumping all around. He's saying, at least in 10 million lives I can see you. That is the mood. Wow, there is a finite number. It's a big number, but it is finite number. Imagine the mood of Mukunda. 10 million lives. What are we thinking, I'm chanting my 16 rounds, I'm doing this and whatever, like this lifetime I should get Krishna. Why Krishna is not here, So that is the thing. When you really, when you get to the mood of saying, I know this lifetime I'm definitely not going to go. It may take me millions of lifetimes, the more you realize, you actually have to realize, not just say it, you start realizing that this is not going to be an easy thing for me. And that shows that you're actually advancing in your spiritual consciousness and you're getting closer to Krishna. Okay? Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.